welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa and thank you for stopping by. If you're new to the channel, please go ahead and subscribe. And if you are not new and already subscribed, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming back to join me. Um, so, take a breath. So, you guys, a lot has changed, and I have actually changed my mind about a few things with my budget. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to just let you guys know and show you guys what the changes are and show you guys how I'm going to move forward from today. So, I was trying to budget by paycheck. And before starting this channel, how I used to budget was weekly. And I used to write up a budget for the month, but I would budget weekly from Sunday to Saturday. That used to be what my week would be. It had nothing to do with paycheck. It just had to do with what weeks fall in the month. So I would budget on a monthly basis from the first of the month to the last day of the month. But I would break it down per week. So whatever I had rolling over on Sunday, at the end of Saturday into Sunday, that would be my rollover money going into that for that next week. And then watching YouTube, seeing some other budgeting gurus on here or other people documenting their journey, I decided to give the paycheck budget a try. And I did try it before I started my channel, and it was working out. And because I do budget alongside with YNAB, um, it was working out. But I find myself right now, I'm not really liking it too much. And I think I'm going to go back to what I was used to and what worked for me, which was on a weekly basis. So, like I said, budget was from Sunday to Saturday, and that's how I budgeted. Whenever I got paid, it fell into it, and it just worked. I've seen a lot of people who budget per month here on YouTube. I've seen people who budget by paycheck, yes, but because I'm a bi-weekly paycheck earner, it kind of messed with my head because I need to be on top of my money. I need to be on top of my budget, and I'm someone who do check my budget every day. And even though I am documenting my journey on YouTube, I still go in and I check my budget every day. But because, I want to have content for you guys and, I still want to have something for you guys to see, I kind of lax a little bit on my budget. But for right now, I'm going to do a you know, weekly budget, not a paycheck budget, but a weekly budget. So you guys will be getting more content from me on a weekly basis. But not only that, it will help me. And, in my mind, it will all work and everything will work in sync. So I'm going to be going from a Sunday to a Saturday for my week. And because of that, this paycheck budget is going to have to take a pause. And when I say pause, I'm going to cut it off early. So as of this day of recording, today is Sunday, November 19th. So I'm going to cut this paycheck off as of the 18th. I mean, nothing really is going to change money wise. I am still going to have the same bills that I do on a paycheck budget 2 week basis. But like I said, for me, it's going to make more sense to go in every week and have it, close the week out and start a new week. Um, if it doesn't make sense to you guys, I'm sorry, but this is how my brain works, and I will be able to provide you guys better content based on how my brain works instead of trying something new and just making a mess of things. So let's get right into my November paycheck one, because my first paycheck in November fell on the 10th, and I am going to go in and budget moving forward. So here we go. So my rollover for And actually, for my last paycheck, I did cut it off early, which was the last day was standby. Be right back. Okay, you guys. So, all right, you guys. So, as you can see here, I have changed the paycheck date range, and like I said, I'm cutting it off. I'm cutting this paycheck off or this paycheck budget off on the 18th. So it's going to go from November 9th to November 18th, which is yesterday. So, all right, let's go over the numbers. You're going to see some changes in this spreadsheet because I have added a cash section and a credit section. So I'm going to differentiate between what was spent using my bank account or cash or what was spent on a credit card. Just so I know on a day-to-day basis going forward what needs to be paid back to the credit card and what is spent on cash. And it will give me a better idea of what's coming out of my paycheck so I'm not in the red and losing my mind, which is what it has been, just in the red for my bank account or, what I owe back to the credit cards. So let's get into the numbers. So my rollover from my last pay period was $377.56, and that was on point. All right, so I did get paid from my regular day job for $2,357.32. And I actually need to do a calculation here because I'm going to lump my income together. The benefit for my son of $1,300.10. So that's a total of $3,657.42 for my income. Hubby sent over $1,100 and there was no additional income. So total that I'm working with income wise for this pay period is $5,134.98. And let's go down into the bills that were paid. So my rent did come out, and that is against my checking account for $2,500 on budget. I paid the babysitter, and the babysitter is paid with cash for $220. My child support went against my checking account for $263. Now, Google Cloud was the first up to be paid by a credit card for $2.16. Geico, I have postponed this payment to the 22nd, so it's going to be on the next paycheck. So I'm just going to put $0 there. Renter's insurance came out against my credit card for $43.75. My babysitter came out again on the 17th for $220. Fast Dojo, I have canceled that subscription, so there's nothing coming out for the ninth. But it's saying the 19th, but since I already canceled it, I'm just gonna zero it out. iCloud, it's kind of weird. It already came out for $2.99, and it actually went on my credit card. I have the 19th there, which last month it came out on the 19th, so I don't understand. So Netflix, I'm gonna put zero because that is due for the next pay period. Heating oil and propane, which wasn't a part of my pre-workup for this budget, but I did pay, and I paid two payments for my heating oil and my propane. The heating oil was a total of $423.22, and the propane was for $180 and a penny. And those went against my credit card. So I was thinking that I didn't need any heating oil or any propane for the month of November, but I actually did. So I went ahead and I put an order in and I made the payment. So total that went against my checking account is $3,203 even. And the total that went on my credit card is $652.13 for a total altogether of 300 I wish, of $3,855.13. So I'm actually going to highlight this because I didn't have anywhere else to put it. Okay, so now let's go down to the debt section. So I actually have zeroed these out, but let me just put these back. So the total budgeted was $300 for half of one main. I paid $336.55. Half car, I had budgeted 4,000. Yeah, right. $469.62. And I paid a total, nope, not 4,000, like I said, $469.62. I paid a total of $447.61 because the amount that was due to break even for my November payment was only $439.23, and I put a little bit extra because I wanted to get it under $42,000. So that's what I paid. My Discover was budgeted for $176. I paid $173, which was the minimum payment. Mattress Firm was budgeted at $67 for the minimum. That's what I paid. Capital One number one was budgeted for $230, and I ended up paying $285 because that was the minimum that was due. I didn't take into consideration my statement before. I didn't look at my statement. I don't know what was going on. The $230 was what I paid for the month of October. So for some reason, I'm thinking it was going to remain the same. Klarna, I budgeted zero. I paid zero. Paid off, and I actually canceled the card. Lending Club, like I mentioned in this pre-workup for this budget, I moved my payment date. As you can see here on the bottom in the notes section, I moved it to the 30th. So that's a zero balance, a zero payment. But one thing I did do, I made some payment on a couple credit cards. Okay, so for my Apple Card, I made two payments just to offset some of the charges that I had on there. First one was $140.42, and the second payment was for $95.28. So the total paid on my Apple Card was $235.70. The next one was the famous footwear card. This is the card that I used to purchase the shoes for my youngest daughter. I had budgeted zero, but I went ahead and covered what was spent. So that was $67.99. Okay, so I had budgeted to spend $1,242.62, and I ended up spending $1,612.85, and that's leaving me with $319.13 in my account. So now let's go up to the variable section. Now, this is where things went a little bit different. For groceries, I have budgeted $200, but I ended up spending $23.32 in cash, and I spent $174.07 on my card. That was a total of $197.39 for groceries, which I'm under budget, which is great. Gas, I budgeted $50. I didn't spend any in cash because I actually, used the Upside app to get rewards. I spent a total of $91.02. I was over budget for that one. Eating out. Now, this is where things went a little nuts. So, my stove broke, completely broken, out of commission. It's a gas stove which uses the propane. I had a slow leak. I was smelling a little bit of gas in the house, and I was concerned, so I called my landlord. They had a technician look at it, and technician said that there was a slow leak coming from two of the burners. So they shut us down, can't use the stove. So this was last Tuesday. So as of today, I'm recording today, Sunday, November 19th. This was last Tuesday. So they shut me down. I have no stove to cook, and I had to improvise. So we went out to eat quite a few times. I had to prepare, I had to get creative, put it that way. I have an air fryer, so I was able to put certain meals in the air fryer. I also, use my toaster oven, and I got creative. But there were some things and there were some meals that we ended up having outside. So total cash for eating out is $4.59. And on my credit card, on my credit card, I spend $94.73. So total eating out is $109.32. I'm not happy about it, but circumstances, it is what it is. Because my landlord ended up having to replace the stove, but when he went to Home Depot to get a new stove, they didn't have any in stock. So, or in stock that they wanted to buy. So they ordered it, and it's going to be here in 2 days, which is on Tuesday, hopefully. Thanksgiving is coming up, and luckily I wasn't planning on hosting because that plan would have gone down the drain. So right now, as of what they're telling me, we're supposed to have our new stove on Tuesday. We'll see. Okay, so moving on to the personal section. So I ended up spending $43.98 in cash. And on my credit card, I spent $983.13. Now, before you guys panic, and so I'm not panicking, um, 833 $835.06 is sort of like a miscellaneous bought as a favor charge or expense that I'm not responsible for. I bought some stuff for a family member of mine on Amazon because I have Amazon Prime and they needed it right away. And I'm waiting to be reimbursed. I haven't been reimbursed yet, so I'm waiting for that. I'm not responsible for that amount, and there is no way I'm going to be responsible for that. And for that family member, they're good for it. That's the only reason why I did it. Copay, I spent $0. Meds, $0. In household, the only amount that I spent was on my credit card for $52.27. Slightly over budget, but I'll take it. So total that I spent in cash against my account is $81.89. That's leaving me a balance in my checking account of $237.24. Total spent on my credit card is $1,395.22 for a total variable expenses altogether of $1,477.11. Now, as you can see, I'm keeping a balance for the total spent on credit cards. So as of my variable expense, total spent is $2,047.35. But remember, 800 of that is not mine. Okay, so for my emergency fund, I put in $20 and I put $15 into my sinking funds. Now that's going to show that it's going to leave me $202.24. That's what I'm going to throw into the rollover or the buffer moving into the next week's budget. So that's going to zero me out. So now let's go down to the summary section. I brought in a total of $5,134.98 in paychecks and total income or inflow. I spent out of that money for fixed expenses $3,203 even. I spent $1,612.85 on debt payments. I spent $81.89 variable, and savings, sinking funds, and rollover was $237.24. That brings me down to zero, but there's some monies that's going to have to go back on my credit card. So far, $652.13 in fixed expenses and $1,395.22 in variable expenses on my credit card. But I had made $235.70, as you can see, to the Apple Card. So then I'm going to take that out of the balance because this I won't need to cover. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to just enter that amount, $235.70, because this is amount that I put onto my Apple Card as payment because I was making, like I said, it may seem confusing, but I do budget in YNAB. So when you spend in certain categories, it moves that money from one budget to the other, one budget category to the other. And that's how I ended up paying that money. If you haven't seen YNAB, I'm going to link a couple videos in the cards, but if not, just go through. I have a few videos that I have budgeted in YNAB, and it's great. So it's going to keep me on track. It has been keeping me on track. And this is another way for me to see it because I actually love a spreadsheet. I love YNAB, but I love me a spreadsheet. So I'm doing it both. So let's just go over the credit section. Because I had paid the $235.70, there's still $1,811.65 that I need to cover. That's the expenses that I'm going to need to cover before the end of this month. So let me go here into this box that's highlighted. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to subtract from my total credit card expenses the amount that's going to be reimbursed of $835.06. That's going to be reimbursed. So total that I need to cover for myself is $976.59 on my credit cards. So for me to do it this way, I hope you guys are not lost or not confused as to how I'm doing this, but I want to be able to not only track on my transaction logs in my paper budget, but I want to be able to track it with my spreadsheet because I don't always take my planners with me, but I always have my phone. And Google Sheets is something that I can check on my phone. YNAB is something I can check on my phone. So I want to keep track of it here just so I'm seeing everything. I want to be able to, um, you know, just to stay on top of it because if I'm not, I'm gonna be off. So if you've lasted this long in the video, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for coming back and checking me out. I'm gonna continue to budget this way with my spreadsheet. So this is something new that you guys are gonna see. We're gonna see moving forward, and I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Give me a like. Leave a comment in the comment box if you are for this, if you were able to follow, if you have any questions. I'm being very transparent. These are my real numbers. This is my real life situation. It only gets better from here. So thank you so much for watching. Bye, guys.